Hello, all. Hello, all, and welcome back to 100 Days of Magic. See, I've got a sign, so we know it's official. 100 Days of Magic. My name is Donna Woodwell. I am the organizer of this Crossroads of Magic and Mastery space, and I am the headmistress of the School of Magic and Mastery. And my life purpose is to help you find the keys to unlock that connection to the divine spark within you. We all have one. We are all manifestations of the divine. At least life is a lot simpler when you think of it that way. When you can tap into that, many things become possible. You find your life has more vitality and zest. You find your curiosity is increased. You find your compassion is increased. You find you're more capable of dealing with stress. You have more inner resources to tap into for whatever life throws at you. And given the world we live in, I think that's the best you're gonna get. Life is crazy. It's full of ups and downs. So why not tap into the resources you have been given? Lots of people today. Hello, Boris. Hello, Claudia. Hello, Pat. Hello, Christine. Hello, Melissa. Did I forget anyone? Hello, Mary. Yay! I'm glad you are all here. Today we are going to be talking about the earth and sacred spaces. In other words, how we make our home into a sacred place that supports us on our quest to create a spiritual practice for ourselves, and what practical things that we can do that, focusing on the element of earth today. Hello, Joanne. Nice to see you. Yay! Lots of people here. Okay, so earth. We all know earth. We're walking around on it. It's the place of solidity that gives our spirits support. Now, I know a lot of people who have spiritual practices might feel uncomfortable with the concept of earth, but think about it. We are here for a reason. Earth slows everything down so that we can have a chance to understand the consequences of our thoughts and intentions in a way that we can integrate them. Without Earth, evolution is not possible. We have to have something to bounce off of to understand and really grok what we are working with. That's, at least in the ancient traditions, that's the purpose of being spiritual beings, trying to have a physical experience. We want to bring more light into the extenses of our reality. So, working with the earth element when it comes to our physical spaces is an excellent place to get started because we get a lot of bang for our buck. You know, making changes in the physical space, while it might take more rolling up your sleeves and sweat equity to make it happen in some cases, it does have the ability to stabilize some of the more subtle stuff that might be moving around and flitting around with the speed of thought, which is pretty much instantaneous. So don't discount working with the basics, because while it's not the end of the road, it certainly is a good starting place. So when we think about the earth element, I know when people think about magic, they might think about rocks and crystals and things like that, and that's awesome, and we're going to include them. But let's start at the very, very beginning, and that is the magic of our spaces. And one of the reasons why the broom is a symbol for witchcraft is that the broom is a symbol for sweeping out the debris of life. So do not undersell. If you want a fresh energy in your environment, just getting a mop and broom, a mop and pail, a dust cloth, and cleaning the place. Because let's face it, dust and hair and stuff that is the dirt that is around us is the dead parts of ourselves that are flaked off and are in our environment. We don't clean those out. We are surrounded by definition by our own dead energy. Every temple had a process for cleaning and purifying the space on a regular basis. And even the Christians don't have concepts like cleanliness is next to godliness for no reason. It has been fundamentally built in to our psyche, east and west, that purification begins with physical cleaning and airing things out. So that means for your space, getting out your vacuum cleaners and your dust buckets and opening the windows and letting the fresh air flow through, and all those things that you need to maintain and take care of your space. It is a magical act. Remember the broom, the witch's broom. If you don't think cleaning can be a magical act, you aren't paying attention to the iconography that surrounds us. All right, second layer of this. To maintain the health of a sacred space, we are considering the way energy flows through the space. And for purposes of this exercise, you might want to think of the energy in a space as like water flowing through or down on a stream, and all the stuff that you have in your physical space are like the rocks in the stream. They shape the way the stream flows. And this is the kernel that gave birth to the concept of feng shui and other space organizing principles. That if you want healthy stuff to move in, it has to have a place to move, which means not having a space that is clogged up with clutter that you never use, that is just collecting more and more stagnant energy. Think of it this way. If there's something that you're picking up and moving every day, it's fresh in your mind. It's got a special spark of energy. But the less you use it, the less you think about it, the more it is in the dark corners, the more and more the energy gets stale, stagnant, just like all the other cast-off stuff in your life. So, you might feel attached to certain things in your life for certain emotional reasons. But it's a balancing act between what you are afraid to let go of and what is clogging up your space and preventing you from living the life that you want. And it's really that clear. No one's saying you have to do anything. You don't have to give away anything. You don't have to lose anything. I know that has many connotations for people. But if you want to live and use your space as a sacred container, that means walking around your space and asking for every object, is this helping me hold my sacred container is this holding my temple in place? Is this part of my temple? If it's not part of my temple, why is it here? And being very honest with ourselves about what we are putting in our temple. Anybody who has had something taken away from them very quickly, like someone who's had their house burned down, or someone who's had their cars totaled, like at the drop of a hat, or something, have their house broken into, knows that when something is removed from your life very quickly, and it's a big thing, you feel what is happening. And you can almost feel like there's an energetic disturbance in your force. And that is the change. You can understand it by its absence, that there really was an energy there that you weren't even thinking about before. So consider that every single thing in your space is taking a little bit of your energy to hold it into manifestation. And the more stuff you have, the more of that psychic energy is being drained by the stuff in your world. So think very carefully, is it worth the little drain that it places on my psyche? This is why so many people feel better when they move all their furniture around, or they give their house a really deep cleaning, or they move to a new space and they have to reset up everything, because every little piece has had its energy refresh, and it feels great until it sits there for a while and the process has to start again. So purification, placement of stuff, or retention or not of stuff, are the basic levels of our sacred space process. But beyond that, we can begin to ask how we are attracting new energy into our space using the earth element. And probably the two most common ways of doing that with the earth element are our rocks and crystals and the plants that we bring in our environment. And I know rocks and crystals aren't for everybody and plants aren't for everybody, but they are tools on this process. So let's start with rocks and crystals. Rocks and crystals do not have to cost thousands and thousands of dollars. They do not have to be anything but what you find in your environment outside on one of your walks and are pretty and or are you feel attracted to them and you've brought them into your space. You don't need gigantic, huge, like person-sized rocks. I think in this world sometimes the advertisers, it's bigger, it's better, it's stronger. It'll help things be more clear. But let's face it, those things are appropriate for huge public spaces. They are not necessarily appropriate for a livable space. You can think of rocks and stones kind of like a mineral Wi-Fi that covers your space. Picked up a couple of my little house program ones. So here's one, just a nice little piece of quartz. Here's another one. This one's amethyst. Right? They're not huge, but between the two of these, they cover my whole space, which is something on the order of 1,500 square feet. You don't need more than that. You just need a couple places to anchor your intention, have a little conversation with the rock. I'd like you to help me hold space for this environment. And make sure they stay dusted. Make sure that they are in a place where you notice them on the regular basis. If you wanted to go even further, you can research something like gridding, where you put small stones in different areas of the house to hold the space. It's the same kind of idea. Probably in a future session, I will talk about that all by itself, because that's a whole conversation. Plants can do the same thing. Not everybody's a plant person, but if you are, a plant is a living helper to your space. It's cleaning the air and it's anchoring life. It's energizing a space. So bringing plants in as appropriate and then speaking to the plant and asking them to, co-create a harmonious environment with you. Houseplants are more than happy to do that. They've kind of volunteered for that, given that they are houseplants and they're used to us most likely having been born from generations designed for earmarked for that purpose. So bring in some plants to energize different parts of your space. And really, it is that simple. It's making sure the space is clean, making sure that energy can flow through. Just imagine water in your head. If water can flow in that area unobstructed, energy can probably flow in that area unobstructed. If water could not flow or would run into things, energy is probably doing the exact same thing. And as we get further into these sessions, we'll talk about how you can eventually clear out and clear the space, but that's a couple days down the road. Okay? All right, so we have done the first bit. If you want to consider your space as a supportive partner in your spiritual practice, make some time to purify it, to clean it out physically. Understand how energy is flowing in the space. And consider what helping little spirits you have, whether they be rocks or whether they be plants, to help hold the physical template of the space. Over the next couple days, we're going to talk about the fire element, we're going to talk about the air element, and we're going to talk about the water element and how they all work together on different levels of your space. We're going to talk about altars and how altars can be kind of the touchstones for spirit in the place. And after that, we're going to maybe talk about a few rituals for space clearing. So we've got a lot of ground to cover over the next week. I hope you keep tuning back in, and maybe for your own homework for these episodes, you will consider how your space is supporting your spiritual practice. Or is it not supporting your spiritual practice? And what that might mean for you. Most people won't listen to me talk right now and go, wow, I don't need all this stuff. I'm just going to get rid of it and downsize. But that might be in the back of your mind eventually. You know, you do not need to be carrying around the burden of more stuff that you can handle just as a bulwark against the cosmos. Be really intentional for what you have and why you are using it. And you might realize that you could free up an awful lot of energy and resources to be more in aligned with your life's purpose and your spiritual practice. Go slowly, be compassionate with yourself, and recognize that the change that helps you be more of who you are is probably where you want to go, right? I would think that's the logical thing to do. Okay, I hope you're enjoying these sessions. Feel free to comment in the section underneath these videos. If there's things you want to share about your own space, especially for the earth element, maybe take some pictures of some rocks, some crystals that help you out, maybe your plants, maybe before and after pictures for you clearing out certain parts of your space. We are here to support one another. That's what the Crossroads of Magic and Mastery is for. Feel free to use it to share your own ideas, but also reach out to others if you need a little help. I'm willing to bet if you need a little help on something, you will find others who need help in that area too. Maybe we can form little teams for mutual support as we learn how to bring more magic into our daily lives. Again, my name is Donna Woodwell. It's my pleasure to be here with you, and I look forward to our continuing adventures together. Take care, everyone.